My name is Ramesh HG, working as Assistant Professor of Mathematics, Government State College Tiptur, Tumkur District. Today I am going to explain the idea of tautology and contradiction in mathematical logic. So, in mathematical logic, first concept is proposition. Proposition is a declared sentence which is either true or false. The truthness of the proposition, if the statement is true, then its truth value is denoted by T. If the statement is false, its truth value is denoted by F. There are 5 important logical connectives in mathematical logic. One is conjunction. If the two propositions are connected by the logical connective and, then it is called conjunction. If the two propositions are connected by the symbol or the logical connective or, then the compound proposition is called as disjunction. If the two propositions are connected by the logical connective if, then it is called conditional. If the two propositions are connected by the logical connective if and only, then it is called as double implication, biconditional. So these are major logical connectives in mathematical logic. Today we are going to explain the idea of tautologies and contradictions. So a tautology is a compound proposition which is always true for all the truth values of its components or propositions. So tautology is a compound proposition which is always true for all the combinations of the truth values of its components is called as tautology. Contradiction, a compound proposition which is always false for all the truth values of its components. So that is the tautology and contradiction. So a tautology is a compound proposition which is always true. So if you give any value for its components, true, false, false, true, 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 false, false, then the truth value of the compound proposition is always true. Suppose if P and Q are two propositions, if we put T for P, Q for T for Q, then it is true. If you put one is false, one is true, then it's true. If you put one is true, another is false, it is also true. If you put one is false, another is false, it is also true. Such a compound proposition is called as tautology. On the other hand, a compound proposition which is always false for all the truth values of its components, then it is called as contradiction. For example, here one example is the compound proposition P implies Q. Double implication, negation of Q implies negation of P is a tautology. So this is an example for tautology statement. So here come to explain. So for first one, P is true, Q is true. P implication Q is true. Negation of Q is false. Negation of P is false. Negation of Q implies negation of P is true. And X is true, Y is true, then X double implication is true. So first statement is true. Next, P is true, Q is false. P implies Q is false because it is conditional. It is false. Negation of Q is true. Negation of P is false. Negation of Q implies negation of P is false statement because it is conditional. And X implies Y, that is false implies false, is true statement. Because it is double implication. If both are false, then it is true. Next, P is false, Q is true. And P implies Q is true because it is conditional. And negation of Q is false, negation of P is true. Negation of Q implies negation of P is false implies true is true. And X implies double implication Y, true implies true is true. Last one is P is false, Q is false. P implies Q is true because implication false false implies true. Negation of Q is true, negation of P is true. And negation of Q implies negation of P is true. X implies Y, true implies true, true. So in all cases we got true statement. Truth value is true. So whatever may be P and Q, true, 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 false, false, true, false, false. The last, you see the last column, we get all true. So this is called as tautology. We call it as tautology. All the values are true. So a compound proportion which is always true for all the combinations of the truth values of its components is called as tautology. Come to the contradiction. The compound proportion P and Q and negation of Q and P. Q and P is a contradiction which is false for all the values of its components. So P is true, Q is true, and this is disjunction. This is we call it as this is conjunction. P is true, Q is true, and the conjunction of P and Q is true. Its negation is false. Then X and Y. It is conjunction. Conjunction of X and Y. One is true, one is false. Therefore, it is false statement. If P is true, Q is false. If P is true, Q is false. And conjunction of P and Q is false. Negation of P and Q is true. Then X implies Y, F implies T. F implies T is false statement. If P is false, Q is true. And conjunction of P and Q is false. Its negation is true. But conjunction of X and Y is false statement. If P is false, Q is false, then conjunction of P and Q is false. And negation is true. Conjunction of false and true is false. So in all other cases, it is false statement. Therefore, such a statement is called as such a compound proposition is called as a contradiction. So this is tautology. All are true, and contradiction are false statement. So these are some examples or MCQ multiple choice questions. So you may answer it. Thank you.